This week's injury update is brought to you by the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute. JOI is the official sports medicine provider of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Dr. Lance Snyder, we're collecting W-2s. Sorry to put you in an uncomfortable spot right off the rip. Welcome, Brent and Friends on ESPN 690.
Hi, guys. How we doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. We got a little year-end baseball season, wrapping that up, so hopefully we'll have a good World Series.
Yeah, we were just talking about that earlier. What a crazy world with the Diamondbacks and the Rangers playing in the World Series. And you've done a lot on shoulder injuries in the past. I did want to ask you about baseball, maybe even get into the football side of things a little bit, just shoulders in general. But I mean, I feel like we know, like, Tommy John is part of it now, right? Like, do you think it's become not as like, whoa, that guy's got Tommy John or needs Tommy John, and now it's, well, it happens, let's plan on it, and then hopefully we do it so well and can get the arm in a better place and the shoulder in a better place that you're going to be good on the other side of it?
Absolutely. I mean, the techniques have gotten so good, and most everybody comes back from it now. I think when teams will talk to me, recently I was talking to the Red Sox about a player, they kind of, as you mentioned, they kind of factor it in, and they know that, young pitcher is going to get it, and they know they're going to return from it.
Is it a little bit dangerous at times to think that way, whether it's a big league or even a younger person, because we're seeing it a lot more, obviously, even in the high school years and maybe even earlier at times?
Well, that's what I don't like, is we're headed to where, a lot of kids are they're getting bigger, they're getting stronger, they're doing weight programs, and they become better athletes. And then we're seeing it younger kids. And so that's where I'd like us to take a step back and try to relax a little bit on how many games we play, how many teams we play on, and how many teams we play year round, and try to maybe try to rehab a little bit more, maybe play multiple sports and maybe not have it so young.
Yeah, it's an interesting. These are issues obviously we talk about a lot in youth sports. We live in youth sports world, and sometimes we do it here on the show on ESPN 690. And you obviously are always, I'm assuming, preaching about this, and the whole medical field really is. Dr. Lance Snyder with us here on ESPN 690. It used to be like curveballs. Is the growing amount of analysis and evidence really just on what you said, overuse?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. The curveball was once thought to be a major factor, and it really isn't. What really is number of pitches, velocity of pitches, how many games you play, how many elite teams you play on. And what we're seeing is the bigger, faster kids that can throw harder are the ones that are getting more injured.
Huh. Why? Explain that a little bit more. Is that because they're asked to do more earlier?
Stars.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're probably the stars. They're probably wanted. One of my friend's kid that I played college football with, his son is an elite thrower, and teams will fly him out of Kansas City, and he flies and plays for teams out of Miami. And I think that's kind of crazy. So, the bigger, faster kids that can throw harder, they're the ones that are more susceptible to these type of injuries.
Yeah, it makes sense. You also said something else, 3-sport athlete. Like, I just don't know if we're ever going to see that again. Like, we do see more of it than I think people admit, whether it's organized or not, I don't know. But I think kids do play other sports. I just don't think we see that 3-sport athlete like in high school. And now you cannot play, in my opinion. I don't know. Maybe some people pull it off. I just don't think you can play 2 travel ball sports. I don't know if that's even possible to do. But it is still something like your field kind of preaches, right? And a lot of other people do. Try to play as many sports as possible. Do you preach that more from an athletic standpoint, from a health standpoint, or for hopefully this is one way to avoid the overuse standpoint?
Well, right. I think that's a great question. On all three sides of things. I mean, you look at the neuromuscular control. I think it's great to learn a lot of different body angles and type physiology. And then you look at, the overuse type thing. I think it helps. And then certainly helps the parents' wallet book. But yeah, so you'd like to control that as well. But no, I think it's really good for the athlete to learn a lot of different sports.
Dr. Lance Snyder with us from Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute, Brent and Friends on ESPN 690. And, hey, you're a Kansas guy. The Jayhawks, you'll be pretty happy with that football team and that program, the way it's rebounded over the last few years.
Yeah, we love our coach. Lance Leipold is a great guy. He's doing great things with the program. And then we've kind of benefited from the transfer portal. I know people have feelings one way or the other, but we've gotten lucky through it. And our NIL is pretty solid, so we'll see where we go with that.
I once brought your wife back some confetti from the Chiefs winning a Super Bowl, by the way, who used to work at our place.
That is like isn't that like the Knowles? They get dirt from
Yes.
from the victory field or whatever.
Of course, there's a lot of confetti lining up for those Chiefs these days, and Patrick Mahomes. Hey, let me, from a baseball standpoint, now related to football, where everybody's football crazy around here, obviously in the Jags and everything else. How common is our shoulder injuries in the NFL game? We see so many other ones, more high-profile ones, but.
Yeah, we see so many of them, especially with interior linemen, with pass blocking. The guys are so physical and so strong. So they get a lot of posterior shoulder labral type injuries. And then, of course, you can damage the rotator cuff and so forth. And in terms of the quarterbacks, the labral injury can be devastating. I mean, if they tear their labrum, their strength and their velocity can go down a lot.
Well, we're seeing that most recently with Anthony Richardson, the AC joint, and then that required surgery. Just had surgery, I believe it was yesterday in L.A. But overall, I feel like a lot of these shoulder injuries that we've talked about over the years, labrum, AC joint, a lot of that feels like in season is a pain threshold standpoint and then fixed after. How do those conversations go sometimes where, hey, you need surgery right now versus, hey, you can try to tough this thing out. You're definitely going to need surgery after the fact.
Well, you're a baseball guy and you're tough. So, you probably would continue playing, but no, I'm teasing you. But,
teasing me about being tough. You're right. I'm not.
It has to do with the grade of the AC separation. So it probably was a grade 3 or higher in Anthony, and they probably felt like he would be better served if they at least tried to fix it and make a grade 1 or grade 2. A lot of times you can't get them perfect, and the biggest complication of AC joint surgery is kind of almost a minor failure of the reduction. But he was playing well, and they probably decided that, it was a high grade, and he had torn, you have 3 major ligaments there, and he had torn at least 2 or 3 of them, and they felt like he probably would be better served if they went ahead and fixed it. Those if they're grade 1 or 2, a lot of times they can get by with a cortisone injection and keep on playing.
Dr. Lance Snyder with us from JOI, Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute, Brent and Friends on ESPN 690. A fantastic resume, by the way. If you ever want to check out what Dr. Lance Snyder has done in his career, he's at the Baptist South location and specializes in a bunch of different areas of the body, especially shoulders as well. So if you have any of those baseball injuries or if it's through any other sport, make sure you go see Dr. Lance Snyder at Baptist South. Let me finish with this because we were just talking about pain threshold, and you've been around professional athletes, you've been around high school athletes, college athletes, all different things. But I don't think people understand how tough these guys are, football guys especially. But and you guys see it. You probably see stories like, hey, don't do anything to me. Just give me a cortisone shot or give me this or I'll get through it. Like, in your experience, how tough are some of the athletes that you've dealt with?
Yeah, it's pretty incredible what they're willing to go through and how they love their sport. I mean, I don't think we give them, like you said, I don't think we give them enough credit. I can remember Aaron Miller, a hockey player, saying with a broken thumb, saying, "Yeah, I'm playing tonight." And I see it all the time with football players where they've got an AC separation. I had a kid the other day, and he had a fracture. It had healed, but it was a pretty serious fracture, and he really wanted to go out there and play. So I'm really impressed with a lot of the kids' attitudes and their willingness to kind of fight through pain.
Dr. Snyder, we appreciate all the expert analysis from JOI, of course, and make sure you see him at Baptist South. Dr. Lance Snyder, thanks for hanging with us for a few minutes.
Hey, thanks a lot. Tell Austin I said hi. I hope that biceps is holding together.
I appreciate it, man. We will. We'll do that for sure. And I think it is. Thanks. Appreciate you.
All right. Thank you. Take care.